I've been onboarding people according to the instructions, updating the spreadsheet based on the onboarding data, and I've been having fun doing so. So I will continue to do so. And that's the intention. Distraction. I'm updating the Hubspot platform with all the contact from the outreach hatcher, from the hatcher outreach campaign, and that's the distraction. But other than that, yeah, I'm eager to see what we're gonna be working on, and I'll pass it to
Before, sorry, before you pass it on, there is a question for everyone who just jumped in, which is, how are you? Or really, how are you? So, Mamani, if you feel like sharing before passing it on to Mark.
Yeah, sure. I'm great. I mean, I guess it takes a while to come back into shape after after the vacations and just not doing anything for a couple of days. Kind of just changes your chip, and then you gotta reprogram it back again into productivity. But I mean, I'm happy. I'm happy to be doing work. I like what I'm doing, so I'm just getting back into the habit, and everything's good. Other than that, everything's good. So I'm good. Truly, I'm good. And I'll pass it to Matt.
Hello, Mark. There you go.
Yeah. Sorry, like my connection is not the best. So I guess we are having a temperature check. Sorry, I joined.
Don't worry. Don't worry. We are doing intentions and instructions if you have any. And the question for breaking the ice today is, how are you? But like, really, how are you?
To be honest, I'm pretty bad. Like just 2 hours ago, like I had a fight with my landlord, and now I don't have a home. So, but other than that, I'm pretty good.
All right. Do you have any intentions and instructions?
Sorry.
Do you have any intentions and instructions?
Intentions, like I would like to. Sorry, like I couldn't hear again. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. Intentions and instructions, if you have any.
Oh, now I have intention to introduce what Prime DAO wanted to do with token engineering commons as community building. So that's my intention.
Right. And just hopefully, if you need any assistance with your home or if you need any time or space for it, please share it.
Okay, thank you so much. Like, you guys are so good. I would like to pass to YY.
I've gone, but I'll pass it on to Benz.
Hi. How am I doing? Really? No, I'm doing well. Good. Just kind of, yeah, getting back to the swing of things for the week. Getting out. Traveled a little bit on the weekend, so. And then intentions is just I haven't been on many Communitas calls, so I'm just kind of trying to see more what you all are doing. Distractions, not really anything beyond the normal stuff, dog whining, and yeah. So I'm good. Thanks. Who hasn't gone yet? I got in a little bit later.
I can pass that on for you. No worries. I will pass it on to Tam.
Cool. So, how am I really? So Monday's my favorite day of the week, so I'm amazing. But really, I did two really dumb things, and I'm really paying for the consequences with massive anxiety. So one, I decided to take my kids to East Denver, and now I'm stressing about that so hard. Like, what was I thinking? Does that even make sense? I think we're going to push through with it, but I have lots of, like, it would have been 400 times easier if I didn't make that decision. And we also decided to get a dog, and it's a newborn dog. So at the end of February, we're going to have a puppy in the house, and the weight of the responsibility is really sinking in, and I'm having panics. So this weekend was really just me finding my Zen moment, because I feel like I did these really two bad decisions that are probably going to work out great, but are really stressful. So I think that answers the question. I appreciate asking. I appreciate that anyone asked me because normally I don't get to share that. And I'll pass to Morganic Movement.
Hey there, y'all. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you want to be. How am I really? My eyes are a bit tired from being on the screen all weekend, getting those different projects prepped. My heart's a little stretched, doing a lot of relational tending and community building. But also really grateful that the sun is out. We live in a place where lots of clouds happen, so with the sun, it's a good thing. My intentions are to continue to get to know you all as the Token Engineering Commons community, and distractions. There are folks that are living just outside my building that are trying to keep warm, and there's a lot of smoke happening. So I'm just like keeping an eye on like shit's not getting lit on fire. So I'm also unsure who has gone, so I would be super appreciative, Edu, if you could pass it.
Sure, no problem. I will pass it on to Alicia's.
Hello. My intentions for this call is to catch up on what the happenings are. With the group, I like to do a lot of rogue onboarding, but I don't actually know what's being like discussed with the onboarding, and I have a lot of methods, but haven't really like circled with people, so I'm still trying to figure that out. My distractions, I've transitioned to mentoring a lot of founders, so I'm like testing a lot of things and providing a lot of feedback. So that's distracting. My heart's really heavy. How I really am is just kind of overwhelmed learning about through the mass graves that they've dug up. Across the country and mainly in like Canada, it's just been illuminating listening to the Indigenous people and learning how the education system is part of indoctrination and how it's just kind of all wrapped with the church and the military, which I served for 13 and a half years and didn't realize I was a part of genocide while I was in it. So I'm holding like really heavy, serious, real things, trying to find the balance between showing up at a project and learning to try to figure out how to create impact on this planet, and then where the balance is between disassociating, like where are my happy mediums here. So that's where I am. I'm autistic and I believe the world is falling apart, and I feel like a lot of people are like playing a bit too much, and I come to these spaces to learn what I can so that I can take them somewhere and create actual change. And I really believe that there's potential in this community to be contributing to that too. I don't know who to pass it to.
Thank you, Alicia, for opening up and sharing that with us. I will pass it on to Combar. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. How I'm really feeling. Well, a mixture of relieved and anxious. Was able to finish a lot of work that I had been putting off for a long time over the weekend, for like months now, and it did it with very little pain once I actually got to it. And so that was a really large relief. But also recognizing that the ability to get that done was because it meant that I was also procrastinating on other work that needs to happen, and kind of continuing to find myself in this cycle of being productive with something sort of one step behind where my attention should be. And so in some senses that also kind of speaks to both my intention and also my distractions. I think in some respects my intentions here are to learn more about this community, which I learned about through reading a text on the kind of panopticon nature of distributed autonomous organizations and organizations that are looking at different approaches to mitigate that. But in some ways, it's also distraction from, again, those things that are sort of more pressing for my attention. So, yeah, in that state of ambiguity, that's where I sit with everyone today. So, hi. And I also don't know who to pass to, so I'll pass back to you, Edu.
And welcome. You're welcome to stay and to join any of our calls. We are an open community, and this specific call, it's a weekly thing with the Communitas working group, where we talk about general topics regarding community building exercise that we execute on the community, from onboarding to outreach to key stakeholders. So you're welcome to ask any question or to join at any moment you have if you don't understand something in any context. And I will pass it on to Nate.
Thanks, Edu. Yeah, so how am I really doing? I'm feeling relaxed and refreshed. I got to spend some quality time with my wife this weekend. We've been so busy, and so that was really nice to do. And she's, in the third trimester, and she's, we're just really excited and just enjoying each other's time. And so got back today. I'm really excited and just excited to get back going with the TEC and getting the ball rolling in different working groups. My intentions for this call, I actually have one where I know that Edu, you had at one point a dashboard of retention rates, or people engaged and how many fell off, how many are still engaged, and I was wondering if we're still tracking that and if we can set up a structure to keep that going, just to have some informational documents to back up decision making. Distractions currently none. I'm just really excited, so yeah, it's good to hear everybody's voices and see how everybody's doing. I'll pass it over to Eunice.
Hi everyone. So the question is how. Okay, well, I'm feeling good, but at the same time, I'm a little bit overwhelmed for certain things that are happening with my family, and there are certain things that I need to fix and done, but I think everything is going to be okay at the end. And speaking about my intentions and distractions, well, my intention here is, as always, to see what are you doing and provide my ideas if I have the opportunity to. And my distractions, well, I'm trying to create a piece of content right now, and I'm reading some things that could help me with that. And I pass it to After.
Long time no see here in Communitas. About how I really feel, I have been having a lot of problems with my sleep. I have some sleep disorder, and it has been hard to regulate my sleep once it's all messy. So it's hard to keep focused. Other than that, my intention here is to. I found it funny that I am the gardener of the trusted seed, but then when I try to look for I have the extension of our garden here at the DC, and I don't come here that much. And this is the best way to learn, not only about our community, but also how you guys skills. And I'm really glad about learning here in Communitas of you. And my distractions, well, I have a bunch of work, so I'll be trying to double task, multitask while here there. But I really look forward to see how this goes. I'll pass it back to you, Edu, because I don't know who is left.
Thank you, Marco. You were the last one. And thank you so much for joining us today. I think having this tight relationship with the partner of the team, just to say, I think it's key for us. And I'm looking forward to see us working together, collaborating together more down the line. So, all right, that was interesting. Thank you so much for opening up, everyone. It's not easy. We're in a mutual community, and we do this exercise from time to time in order to connect in a different way, and also to provide space for just decompress a little bit, at least for 5 minutes. So thank you so much, everyone who participated and engaged with this little exercise. So, in the screen's agenda for today, it was a little bit scrappy, to be honest. After we finished the runoff and the outreach, I felt a little bit like, whoa, where we have to fall back, where we have to start working again in what. So I prepared the agenda with a little bit of looking for collective intelligence in this. But the first item that I put, because it's one of the things that we should keep doing in a routine, it's a guide, and it's one of the things that I also would like to focus on the way. So I just want to open the floor briefly, 5 minutes to Momani. You mentioned that you were doing some work on that. If you have any feedback, if you have any question, and then before I pass it to you to Aloysius, because I hear you mentioning something about onboarding, so I think it's the right time for it. So, Manu, if you feel like sharing. If you are talking, Manu, we cannot hear you because you are still muted. Or if you cannot talk, and then I will pass it on to Aloysius, and then we can go back to you.
I wasn't expecting them to have the floor. Well, hi. Okay. Alright, I'm just gonna free flow then. Thinking about new folks coming in, general questions, not to be answered like as I'm talking, but how do we catch people? How do we know that there are new people coming into the ecosystem? Like, what's the net for that? And then how do we know what their needs are? And gosh, then who are the people who are reaching for them? And then are those people being cycled out? And are those people being rewarded? Or just some general questions I have. And then, yeah, what happens when you get on a call? What's that experience like? Just brainstorming that. I don't think that's for this container that feels like it needs its whole space to ideate not just my ideas but other people's too, but just for breadcrumbs. When I meet with new people, my first intention is to figure out what lights up their soul. Is to just get grounded with them and talk to them and have them daydream with me and talk about the perfect world that they want to be living in and what that looks like and what gets them closer to that. And then I can think of places or things within the ecosystem I know that'll get them closer to the thing that they actually want in life while they're interested in this. Is kind of a way that I guide people. So yeah, I don't know. That's just my loose thoughts, maybe jamming on folks, because I know of people who have come in and have not been caught by onboarding or have missed it by coming in through various channels. I know some of our gravitons have had that happen too, where they're kind of in all of a sudden and they don't know what else is out there. Yeah.
So I wrote down a few of your questions. I think the key part is the last part that you also mentioned, is figured out in your first approach what what is their interest. That's something that, as the guide's role is expanding, we are prioritizing to understand which is the area of interest for newcomer. Once we clarify what is their area of interest, we can sort of guide them through whatever process that implies. So that's something that if you're doing it on your one-on-ones, it's the same thing we're doing as a guide role. And we have, for the other questions that you asked, how do we know when there's new people, what are their needs, what is the net, and so on. The guide roles aims to be the net of the newcomers. Also, there is a bot net, if you can think in that way, which is the survey that gets sent to people, so they can fill the survey, and then we reply according to that survey. So we have a bot net, if you can think in that way, and we have a human net. Right now, we focus first on the people who fill the survey, and from last call with Han, we think about, okay, let's then focus. Now we have more people, then let's focus on people who don't fill the survey. So we have a better approach to it. The rest of your questions are a little bit laid out on the guides on guides document that was prepared. I can send to you, and you can, of course, clearly provide feedback to this document, because we are looking for feedback for this document and ways to improve it. It's basically just a brief way to handle and receive people in the most welcoming possible way. The other thing that you mentioned that I think it's clear, it's how do we welcome people on a call when they are new and they don't know what they are. For me, it's about contextualizing. Just when someone joins in, acknowledge it, contextualize what they will be listening to, and just briefly ask them who are they, what their intentional instructions, and just provide context from our part and ask context from their part. That for me is key. Once we are both contextualized, we can follow up the meeting, or we can continue the talk. So that's the approach I do. Do you have something else you would like to comment on?
Yeah, I just have a question about the last part, the folks who don't fill out the survey, that you are going to be reaching to them later, just because of like maybe introversion or shyness or social stuff or privacy things or whatever. I'm wondering if it would be nice to like signal out in the open somewhere, like, at so and so, would you like a tour of the commons or something like that? What would be like a way out in the open for people who might like, I don't know, I just like, people have lots of fears and anxieties and social things. I'm trying to think of like the most sensitive way to like get someone's attention and see if they still want some care. Like, I'm still looking for that for myself.
Right. We have the orientation channel. So the idea, there is the good and the bad. The good is that we can mention everyone who is new or who hasn't filled the survey out in the open orientation, but at the same time suggesting that we can do private messages rather than, because if you have social anxiety, probably while out in the open in the orientation channel, you wouldn't feel comfortable necessarily. So just providing enough safe spaces for newcomers is the ideal spot. So basically, orientation channel, we welcome everyone in the same way. We don't prioritize anyone, but the idea could be to also provide safe space in a personal touch, so people can, if they do not feel like sharing personal information or talking about their projects or talking about them on the orientation channel, that they can just write a DM to any one of the guides. Does that make sense?
Yeah, can it be like cool to not mention anything like if you didn't fill out the survey, like not have that language present anywhere, or make it be known to clearly state that while the survey is optional, we still don't want to miss these people or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, on the orientation outreach, we basically don't mention you fill the survey. We rarely mention that unless there is something really like important there. So everyone doesn't know. So everyone gets a feeling that everyone is being welcome. So that's one of the ways. If you go to the orientation channel, you will notice a little bit about that. So yeah, Morganic, do you have something to comment that I see you put your video on, or did you just put your video on?
I mean, I'm definitely vibing with this conversation because I'm still sort of floating in the ambiguous middle of having been brought in through Graviton and then or being a Graviton, learning the way out of the token engineering commons, and in the limbo of getting set up with a guide to be able to figure out where I fit in. So happy to be handheld and be an experiment. I think I've expressed that in a couple calls. I know y'all have been in super deep in the upgrade right now. And so I'm wondering how many of us, while you've been deep in the upgrade, kind of maybe have gotten this from the time or gravity until now. So echoing quite a few things of what I was saying from my own personal experience.
Yeah, and I apologize because you did mention this last call. And if none of the guides or myself happen to this, then we will do it this week for sure. Thank you. Manu, do you have your mic on working? We were, or Jean also, if you have any feedback from the guide and the update from the spreadsheet.
Yeah, sorry, I stepped away a little bit earlier. I guess when you called out on me. For now, well, I'd say that doing the hatch outreach for the final vote for the prams. I found out that DMing, I guess I went off script and I just DM people. Really short message, nothing like the Nigerian prince, long ones. They're really just short message, couple emojis, and just being really helpful. Sorry, I had to plug that in. Yeah, that had really better engagement than just, I guess, asking people on communities. But yeah, for onboarding, the people I get from the onboarding data have just been messaging on the community halls. And if I see them on a call, I immediately use the fact that we're both on the call and be like, hey, you can reach out to me by DM and I can I'm an onboarding guide and can help you with whatever it is that you want, any questions. And I've had a couple people that I've started on a discussion with them and just seeing how they can be incorporated into the community, just seeing what is they're working on and how that ties into what we're working on. So yeah, pretty much. I mean, I don't know. Everything's going, I guess, according to plan. I don't have any feedback or anything. I mean, things have been working on my end, and yeah.
All right. How about Gigi? Anything you would like to comment on before we keep going?
I think the only thing that I can think of to augment the process at the moment would be to perhaps create maybe an additional channel that's not visible to anybody but whoever has the guide role to be pinged by a new entrant so that we have a kind of mechanism for immediately addressing them and having a knowledge that they're there.
And yeah, we can do this. We can do this today or tomorrow to open a private guide channel to just coordinate if it is needed, or a thread. I remember last week you mentioned something similar, and I suggested a thread on the Communitas channel rather than private. So we can either balance it out. And regarding that, do we know when the spreadsheet, the automated spreadsheet that will replace orientation data will be on?
I haven't actually looked at that because I'm kind of occupied with the reward system work now. But yeah, Notion can be a goal. But if we want it in a normal spreadsheet, we can have it in a normal spreadsheet. The Google Spreads one.
I remember at some point Tam sending a link to spreadsheet that was, but it has it was not going to be daily. They had another mechanism. I don't remember clearly what was the limitation of it, but
Okay. That's a different thing. That's something that I scraped from the server.
Right.
Ideally, we'd want the data to go directly from the bot to there rather than having it scraped, because scraping does have that offset that you know there's like a 20% chance, no, not 20, but like a small percent chance that there's some weird formatting or things mess up. Uh, yeah, and that's why it might be better to just include it in the bot. So once I get back to the onboarding bot and uh, delete the older survey bot and just include it inside this present one that is JavaScript, then we might be able to work on this.
All right.
I'll try and get this to work with the normal Google spreadsheets because those are much more easier to use, and we won't have any concerns about having less number of rows or something like that.
Cool. Thanks for that update, Pi. I wonder in between now and when the final bot is ready and automated, if we could continue to do that manual dump once or twice a week, maybe, just to keep that to make that the master spreadsheet accessible to the guides. Because I think right now they're inputting it manually into a spreadsheet.
Yeah, that's not good. Okay, I'll try and make a repetitive call for this, or there's just a command that anyone can run in the server. Let me just pull up a channel. Is there any like channel that is not in use and all the people in this call can access?
The Communitas text channel. What do you
I
like?
can-
If you need, I mean, you can share the procedure for getting the commands on the Communitas so all the guys can see it and we can pull out the information to document. That will be quite useful. Does anyone has any question regarding something that we have talked on the past 10 minutes before we move on? 5, 4,
Yeah.
3. Yes.
I have something that just came to mind. So yeah, for Hubspot, I mean we have the bulk of our contact information, like it's in Discord tags and Telegram tags, and the subscribe to the newsletter on the website on tcommons.org, which we could use to capture emails from hatchers and all the people inside our community. I don't think it's working. I'm on the process of fixing it with Christopher with Nick's help, but yeah, I was wondering if there's an issue with me, taking initiative and getting to the people we have, the hatchers and people within our community, for which we have a Discord and Telegram information to reach out to them, either en masse or individually to get their emails, because HubSpot, it does not do like mass digital marketing or all the functions that they do not do them for Discord and Telegram. So is there any objection to this, or any increase in efficiency that I'm not thinking about with regards to doing this? Just wanted to put it on
So
the table.
you would like to get hatchers emails, basically. Right?
Yes.
So we have the gardener here, and I think we have access to the emails of when you fulfill the trusted seed application. You put your email on. The thing is that we don't have it publicly. So to get the emails of most of the hatchers, I think you will just have to request it to Muffer, which is the gardener. Am I wrong, Han, on this? And correct, or Muffer, you can correct me.
Yeah, so this is like email is considered personal identifying information, so there's some special things that we do around sharing that.
Right.
Manu, do we not already have in TEC HubSpot, and Nate, you're both here. Do we not already have Hatcher's emails in HubSpot and it's just a matter of getting access to that?
Well,
We have
yeah,
both,
yeah,
but we don't have it integrated into HubSpot yet. So this is something that we wanted to talk about in terms of security and making sure that those personally identifiable things are okay to use. And so the ones with the emails we could integrate into HubSpot right now. And if we do that, the first step we would take would be to ask if they want to be a part of this newsletter and making sure that it is okay to send them emails in the first place. So I'm not sure if that's an adequate amount of security and making sure that we're getting permission from these individuals. And if not, they can unsubscribe and we will remove them from that data sheet. But in terms of like grabbing new contributors, I don't know how we want to approach that.
So this goes back like almost a year now. Over a year now actually. But I know that Common Stack had an initiative to send an email to everyone on Common Stack asking if they wanted to opt into TEC's newsletter. And there were some results, and those results was a set of people who had opted into TEC, and I thought that was the list that Common Stack passed to TEC.
Oh, okay. So the ones that are on Hubspot are the ones that opted in, and the ones that I do not have on Hubspot, I ought not to try and get because they decided not to share it with us.
I have to go.
Right?
Yeah, I need to go back and search for exactly what went down. It should be in our Zen Hub actually, because my understanding was we went through this opt-in process like November 2020, December 2020, really sort of soon after I joined. So I think that it was to the best of my memory, we've already gone through the opt-in process, and we ended up with a list of people who had opted in. But it keeps coming up, so I'd love for us maybe to sync offline or like async, or like the three of us sync offline and try to determine exactly what the status is, because this keeps coming up. Well, we didn't have HubSpot for a long time, but now we have HubSpot, and now we're just trying to figure out if we have the right people.
Yeah. I just want to bring it out because we have gardeners here, you, Tam, Nate. But yeah, we'll take it async, and the three of us are the ones where LN2s can sync and figure out.
I also think once we launch a newsletter, people will just start signing up for the newsletter.
Right.
So we might not even need to wait for that final list and just sort of, we probably don't have a communication to Hatchers anymore. Like in a few weeks we'll be public, or the bonding curve, the Commons upgrade will have launched. So we may not have specific targeted to Hatchers. And if we do want to do that, maybe what we can say is Common Stack will send another communication to all Hatchers announcing the TEC newsletter and offering them the chance to opt in. Maybe that could be a better way to do it, coming from Common Stack, because those are the people who received this PII.
Yeah, and I think also that if this opt-in was made just shortly after you join, you wouldn't have a lot of Hatchers that were gathered or joined or self-committed after with the outreach. We gathered a bunch of people, and they were not part of this list of the Common Stack if it was just shortly after you joined, because we started this in January, February, and March of next year. So I think we will be missing a lot of people who will have interest in this, if that's the case in the timing.
Yeah, we have a meeting right after this HubSpot meeting, and so this has been on the docket for a little while in terms of just like, we really kind of just need to start fresh and make sure that we have our data structure that we want, and making sure that the information that we're taking in is valid, and the ones that are participating are doing it through the TEC. I know that we had approval from the Common Stack perspective, but I would think it would be very beneficial to say, hey, we're using this list from the TEC perspective, and if you want to opt out, you can do that now.
Yeah, I think Maria and Yine, it's a little late for me. It ends up being 10 p.m. I just looked. I thought it was right after this and I would join. But maybe Maria and Yine can join. That there's a 10 p.m. CET HubSpot Teams Sync. And
I was going to say that I have a few ideas, but if you have an open space for that, I will be more than glad to be part of it.
Most definitely.
Yeah,
we meet in an hour and we will stop kidnapping Edu's Communitas meeting for this. We're assembled now. Thank you, Tom, and thank you, Nate.
And one thing that would be great though is at some point it'd be great for the Communitas group to just kind of hear what's happening with HubSpot. Because it's so related. So like if maybe like next week or one of these coming weeks, if we could get just like an update on what's happening, I think it'd be great.
I'm game. Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, I think Manu mentioned before last time is that the way we're organizing HubSpot is that it correlates so many different working groups, and so we're going to sit each working group to the side and say, hey, this is how you're going to interact with HubSpot and the information that you need to know and how you need to interact with it. And so we will have that organized in the next couple of weeks. So
perfect. All right. Welcome, Shui, by the way, to our call. I didn't see you.
It's my first time here. Thanks, everybody.
Welcome, Chewy. I just want to say I just went through the common stack issues, and I don't actually. We may not have done that opt-in. Maybe it was an idea for us to do, and we didn't do it because the TEC wasn't yet ready to. HubSpot wasn't over yet. Wasn't live yet. So it might be something that Maria and Yunese can help kick off. To get opt-in from the common stack list to opt into the TEC newsletter.
I do have a question on this, sorry for interrupting, that pops up from what was just discussed a while ago, using the personal identifier information that was passed to us via the common stack. I don't know, that feels slightly weird, to be honest, and I don't know how many people would be comfortable with it because that information can't be passed unless the people who own that information are passing it. If we're doing that, then we might as well be some of those companies that we hate.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what we're saying. We're saying it's the common stack responsibility to send out a message allowing their mailing list to opt in to the TEC newsletter. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's not. So basically, it's the common stack can't give the mailing list to the TEC, but they can communicate with their mailing list, asking if they want to opt into the TEC communications.
Right. The next lesson. Also, another thing about HubSpot is that it's of relevance to onboarding data. If we're using tracking software as sophisticated as HubSpot, would it be beneficial to just load the onboarding data inside HubSpot? If we are interested in doing that.
Yeah, that would be amazing if that can be done. Then yeah, I'll talk to you about it. Yeah, I'll talk to you about it.
Okay. I think this came up with a conversation with Dokara. It looks like it's possible, so maybe we can look at it and maybe make this work.
All right. Hannah, would you like to take on any purchase?
On the rest of the agenda? Okay. So I also thought maybe we can get someone to volunteer as a guide for organic movements right now. And I think it'll be a really great learning experience for if we have sort of a guide go through the process and help us improve it. I threw that on the agenda.
I'll be happy to.
Jean? Awesome. Cool. And I think, Eduardo, you can definitely support anything that Jean needs help with, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I think we have to celebrate because 82 people voting for parameters for conviction voting, DAO voting, and augmented bonding curve is astounding. I mean, it's a credit to one, how cool the dashboard was, but it's a credit to how engaged our community is. But I also don't want to forget that Hatcher Outreach really did a really great job making sure that each Hatcher knew what was expected of them when. So I think we can also take a little credit for that. So yeah, 82 people, that's really, really huge. And then the next thing is Twitter support. So it's great that Chewy's here. We are probably going to need some help with Twitter. I guess if people are skilled and have some expertise and some good understanding and insights to share, they could probably jump onto the team's Twitter sync on Mondays. Or otherwise sort of reach out to Chewy for how to support Twitter. And that's the two things that I added.
Perfect. And I added the outreach for results on launch of the token. And yeah, I don't know if it's time to talk about it, or we would like to wait for when we have more information about it. What is the right sort of approach to this?
Well, the results, meaning Goldilocks 1, is the winning proposal. I mean, I don't know how much there is to say. What kind of message would you imagine for this? Like, what if we want to bundle these two together? The launch of the token is definitely like, what to expect now that maybe it's something like this. Now that we know the winning proposal, here's what it is, and here's what to expect in the next, 2 weeks.
Yeah, yeah, something like this. For me, the launch of the token, there is like, I don't know if it's romantic, but for me, the results of the runoff, it's also an opportunity to contextualize and to create certain kind of content that can contextualize, like to go like, hey, maybe you forgot this vote, but this is all the things that happened that reached to this point. So when we launch the vote, we could have a set of a narrative that also people can provide context, because people will see the token. But if I have to go through every Medium article to have context about this token, I will not read it. But if I have a sort of a narrative, a small, probably a small narrative that ends on the runoff, how we get to this point, I think it could be clarifying for everyone, and it could be really nice for as an outcome of the runoff vote kind of outreach. It was just a scrappy idea I had in my mind, but I don't know how productive it could be actually. So just throwing out that. Probably should that you are here, or Tam, if you want to provide feedback if it is doable or it's just not.
I mean, I think it could be a nice idea. The people that have started, here's what I would say, the people that have started conversations, like dialogues with Hatchers, maybe want to close that loop, like close that circle. Maybe we don't need to go through a list of every single Hatcher and share, a canned message with everyone. But people that have started conversations, encouraged people to vote, maybe it would be nice for those people who did that outreach to, like, hey, here's the result. Thanks for voting. Here's the result. Here's the next 2 weeks.
Yeah. I think that
we could explain just basically like, the next steps, right? So the vote to move the funds to the new DAO, to the commons, and then the 4 days for the vote, the 2 days for the rage quit quiet period, and then the actual then the vote to remove the funds, and then moving the funds, and then launching the bonding curve. So there's like the sort of sequence of next steps to the final end goal, which is the commons upgrade is officially 100% live.
Makes sense. All right, that sounds better. We can work on that. All right. And Nate, you mentioned the data. Um, so I'm sharing my screen at the moment. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, I can.
Okay. So basically, this is what you mentioned, the retention, and this is an issue that was open for transparency working group. But of course, I mean, we had so much things going on, and this fell into the radar. But if I don't know if you have admin privileges on Discord, but what we tend to do, what we did the first time, is to present this information in a readable format. So, but this information is open for everyone with admin powers on Discord, and it's basically all the data that gets pulled out from the Discord basic information. You have even how many people muted my server. And we basically what we did in the PDF that we presented, it's a little bit of how does this translate into a DEC and how does it translate it into actions that we could do. So yeah, I don't know if this is what you're looking for.
Yeah, it is. Just anything like that, maybe trying to set up more of an infrastructure for it so we can kind of have some form of monitoring to gauge how we're doing and just to kind of support the decisions that we're making. And so I just wanted to look into it a little bit more and see if I could help build it up a little bit better and make it more accessible.
It would be ideal because at least we have the previous data output, so and it has passed around 2 months since that, so we can contrast the new data with that one, and then we can prepare for the possible influx of people coming from the launch of the token.
And so this information is the current state, correct? And then we can just basically take that information and review it periodically.
Correct. The idea was to do it monthly because Discord, there are certain data that only pull out monthly. They don't pull it out like weekly or anything. So the idea was monthly according to Discord data and then build it up from there. I think I will propose that the first task to do is to just present the content of similar matter than the previous output and then contrast it and just create a way to make a workflow out of this. That makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. Thank you for showing me
that. And then, yeah, just check it out. If you right click on our server and you go to server adjustment and you go to information on the server, if you can access that, then you also have access to this information.
Thank you.
And if you need, yeah, we can. Yes, Peter.
Just real quick, I think this kind of data would be so valuable for the life cycle work that we were doing in Communitas. Like just knowing, I mean, if I don't know if we can get individually identifiable or like tie it to an actual profile, but there's something super valuable about this because there's kind of just this sense that I'm kind of wondering like who's dropping off, like who are we missing, and having this data not just in the aggregate, but for individual people would be super helpful. So I don't know what's the best way to find out about that.
Yeah, I mean, we can think of this. The document that was prepared with transparency regarding this data, the last in November or October, the idea of it was to sort of start building up using the data as a basis. We didn't have time to actually build any strategy around that data, except for certain things. Like we did the update of remember when you proposed the change of the channels, we used part of the data to sort of improve certain things because there were we suggested to working groups certain stuff because there were working groups that didn't have any activity on the text channel, so it was not very transparent. So there was these small suggestions made, but out of that there was no other consequence. So so to speak. Yeah, I mean the onboarding journey is to tackle it in a way. Sorry, Tim.
No, I just wanted to jump in. I can't read actually the letters of the URL. Is that dashboard a dynamic site? Is it sort of real time, or what is that dashboard?
it seems like it is a real time. So yeah, it's
Okay.
I think it's real time.
And
You can
it's
change here
and it's
weekly or
and does it actually just roll up statistics, or does it show individually people's names and how they're interacting?
no names.
And can you maybe we can have a look at it? Maybe more people can have a look at it. Can we maybe drop it in Communitas and sort of see how we can use these in other pieces of work as well?
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah, because it is super useful, and I think I think in many places it's useful. It's useful just to know how, maybe not how we're doing, but like what needs attention a little bit too.
Yeah, that was the idea. I think that when we did this, we didn't have enough context to provide support for this action, so it just fell into the nothing. All right, we are at the top of the hour. I will share the link and I will share the document before. Thank you so much that joined this call. I apologize, streamer. We didn't welcome you to our working group call. For the next call, or if you have any question, please share it and introduce yourself in the Communitas Working Group text channel. Thank you everyone for joining. Looking forward to see you next Monday. Have a lovely Monday.
Thanks, Eduardo. And Mert, it's on the topic for the Stewards Weekly, the proposal inverter sort of joint work with Prime Down. So please do come.
Yes,
right,
sure.
Mert.
I will be there.
Mert, we could sync, Mert, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much
Perfect.
for warm welcome.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye.